The scent of disinfectant and stale coffee had become my perfume. I'd worn it for 3 years, absorbed it into my skin like a second layer, invisible but always there. The hospital's night shift had a particular kind of silence, not peaceful, but waiting. Waiting for the next emergency, the next crisis, the next moment when everything would explode into controlled chaos. I pushed my cleaning cart down the empty corridor, the wheels squeaking against the polished linoleum. My reflection in the darkened windows showed a ghost of a woman, hollow cheeks, hair pulled back so tight it gave me headaches, scrubs that hung loose on a frame that had forgotten what it meant to be fed properly. 23 years old, and I looked a decade older. Exhaustion had carved itself into my bones. The executive floor was always different. Quieter. More expensive. The kind of place where even the air felt cleaner, filtered through systems that cost more than I'd make in a lifetime. I wasn't supposed to be here, this was Maria's section, but she'd called in sick again, and I needed the overtime. I always needed the overtime. Room 507. I knocked softly, a habit from years of entering spaces where people were at their most vulnerable. No answer. I checked my clipboard. The patient had been discharged that afternoon. Just needed a quick clean before the next wealthy individual claimed this sanctuary of mahogany and leather that pretended not to be a hospital room. I slipped inside. The room still held traces of whoever had occupied it, a lingering scent, expensive cologne, cedar, and something darker, like smoke from a wood fire. Not the cigarette smoke that clung to my father's clothes and memories I tried to forget, but something refined, dangerous in its elegance. I moved mechanically, stripping the bed, wiping down surfaces. My mind was elsewhere, calculating. Rent was due in 3 days. The electricity bill had a final notice stamp on it. And Lily needed new shoes. I'd seen her trying to hide the holes in her current ones. My baby sister still trying to protect me, even though I was supposed to be the one protecting her. The bathroom was pristine, barely used. Whoever had stayed here hadn't been sick in the traditional sense. I'd learned to read rooms, to understand the stories they told. This one spoke of power, of someone who commanded space even in absence. That's when I saw it. A watch, sleek and black, resting on the marble counter by the sink. My breath caught. It was the kind of thing I'd only seen in magazine advertisements. The kind that cost more than my yearly salary. More than enough to solve every problem crushing me into dust. My hand trembled as I reached for it. Not to steal, I wasn't a thief. I needed to turn it in to Lost and Found. That was protocol. That was the right thing to do. But my fingers closed around the cool metal anyway. And for just a moment, one stolen moment, I let myself imagine what it would feel like to not be drowning, to breathe without the weight of the world pressing down on my chest. I wouldn't do that if I were you. The voice came from behind me, smooth as silk and sharp as a blade. My heart stopped. I spun around, the watch slipping from my fingers, and time seemed to slow as it fell toward the tile floor. A hand shot out, catching it before impact. Fast. Impossibly fast. I looked up and up, into eyes that reminded me of a wolf's. Gray, calculating, ancient, despite the young face they inhabited. He was perhaps 30, perhaps ageless, tall enough that I had to tilt my head back. He wore black, everything black, tailored so precisely it looked like a second skin. The cologne I'd smelled earlier intensified, surrounding me, making the small bathroom feel even smaller. I'm sorry, I was just... The words tangled in my throat. He studied the watch in his palm, turning it over with long fingers. Fingers that moved with controlled precision. The kind that spoke of discipline or violence or both. Then his gaze lifted to me, and I felt pinned in place like a butterfly to a board. Just what? His voice held a trace of an accent I couldn't place. European, maybe. Refined. Stealing? No, I was going to take it to Lost and Found, I swear. Panic climbed up my spine. I couldn't lose this job. I couldn't. Lily depended on me. Please, I wasn't stealing, I would never... He took a step closer. I took a step back, hitting the counter. Trapped. The bathroom suddenly felt like a cell, and he was the warden studying his newest prisoner. What's your name? The question threw me. Emma. Emma Crawford. Emma. He said it slowly, tasting each syllable. Do you know who I am? I shook my head mutely. Should I? Was he someone important? Of course he was. The watch, the private room, the way he carried himself like he owned not just the space, but the air in it. Something flickered in his eyes. Amusement? Satisfaction? Good. That makes this easier. Makes what easier? He slipped the watch into his pocket, but he didn't move away. Instead, he leaned against the doorframe, blocking my only exit. Not threatening exactly, but absolute in his control of the situation. I noticed details I'd missed in my panic. The way his shirt collar was open, revealing a tan throat. The slight shadow of stubble along a jaw that could cut glass. The complete absence of fear or uncertainty in his posture. You're working 3 jobs. It wasn't a question. I blinked. How did you... You have the look. He tilted his head, studying me like I was an equation to solve. Running yourself into the ground. Desperate, but proud. You didn't take the watch, even though you wanted to, even though it would solve your problems. Shame burned in my chest. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. He pushed off the door frame, and suddenly the space between us felt charged, electric. You're honest. Rare quality. I need to finish my shift. I tried to move past him, but he didn't budge. How much do you need? Excuse me? Money. How much do you need to get out of whatever hole you're in? Pride warred with desperation. Pride lost. I don't understand why you're asking. Answer the question, Emma. The way he said my name, like he had a right to it, like it was already his, sent a shiver down my spine that had nothing to do with cold. $5,000. The number escaped before I could stop it. Rent, utilities, my sister's school expenses. But I'm not asking for... Done. I stared at him. What? 5,000. I'll have it delivered to you by morning. He straightened his cuffs, the movement casual, as if he'd just agreed to buy me a coffee instead of changing my life. In exchange, you'll do something for me. Every warning bell in my head started ringing. I don't do that kind of... His laugh was low, dark, genuinely amused. Nothing sexual, though your assumption is telling. His eyes traveled over me, clinical yet somehow intimate. You'll attend a dinner with me, Friday night. Wear something elegant. I'll provide the dress. Why would you? Because you intrigue me, Emma Crawford. And I'm a man who gets what he wants. He finally stepped aside, giving me room to pass, but his next words froze me in place. Your father was David Crawford, wasn't he? My blood turned to ice. How do you know that? I make it my business to know things. He pulled out a card, black, minimalist, just a phone number in silver print. You'll hear from me. And Emma? I looked back, trapped in that gray gaze. Don't run. You won't like what happens if you run. Then he was gone, moving with a silence that seemed impossible for a man his size. I stood in the bathroom, the card burning in my hand, my reflection in the mirror showing a woman who'd just made a deal with the devil. Except I hadn't agreed to anything, had I? My phone buzzed. An unknown number. A text message. The money will be in your account by sunrise. The dress will arrive Thursday. Don't disappoint me. I should have been afraid. I should have blocked the number, thrown away the card, run like he'd warned me not to. Instead, I stared at the message until my vision blurred, and wondered what I'd just unleashed into my carefully controlled disaster of a life. The card in my hand felt heavier than metal had any right to be. The money appeared like magic. Like a fairy tale, except fairy tales didn't come with strings attached to men who moved like shadows and spoke in commands disguised as requests. I stared at my phone screen in the break room, refreshing my banking app for the 7th time. The numbers didn't change. $5,342. He'd added extra, enough to cover the overdraft fees I'd accumulated, the late charges I'd stopped counting. You okay, Emma? Sarah, one of the ER nurses, touched my shoulder. You look like you've seen a ghost. I looked like I'd made a deal with one. I'm fine. Just tired. You're always tired, honey. She squeezed gently before heading back to her shift. Take care of yourself. But I didn't know how to do that anymore. Taking care of myself was a luxury I'd abandoned 3 years ago. The night I'd grabbed Lily from our father's house and never looked back. The night I'd chosen survival over safety. Poverty over violence. I paid the rent online during my lunch break, my fingers shaking so badly I had to re-enter the account number twice, the electricity bill next. Then I transferred money for Lily's school trip. The one she'd pretended not to care about. The one I'd seen her circling in the permission slip before hiding it in her drawer. By the time Thursday arrived, I'd almost convinced myself it was all a hallucination. Stress-induced psychosis. The mind playing tricks after too many double shifts and not enough sleep. Then, the dress arrived. The delivery man looked uncomfortable standing in the doorway of our third-floor walk-up, holding a garment bag that probably cost more than our monthly rent. Emma Crawford? I signed with numb fingers. The fabric inside was midnight blue, silk that moved like water. The tag had been removed, but I knew designer when I felt it. There was a note, written in sharp, precise handwriting. 8 p.m. A car will collect you. Don't be late. No signature. He didn't need one. Who's that from? Lily appeared behind me, 15 years old and too perceptive for her own good. Her dark hair, the same shade as mine before exhaustion had dulled it, hung in a braid over her shoulder. Work thing. The lie tasted bitter. I have to attend a hospital fundraiser. Her eyes narrowed. Since when do you get invited to fundraisers? Since I've been working there 3 years. I hung the dress in my closet, hiding it behind my work scrubs. It's networking. Could lead to better opportunities. That part, at least, might not be a lie. I didn't know what this was, what he wanted. But men like him didn't give money without expecting returns. The dinner was just the first payment on a debt I didn't remember signing up for. Friday crawled by with the speed of continental drift. I picked up an extra shift, needing the distraction, needing to not think about gray eyes and dangerous smiles and the way my father's name had sounded in his mouth. Like he knew things. Terrible things. Things I'd buried deep. By 7 p.m., I was home, staring at the dress like it might bite. Lily had taken the bus to her friend's house for a sleepover. I'd made sure she was gone, made sure she wouldn't see whatever was about to happen. Protection was instinct now, coded into my DNA. I showered until my skin turned pink, washed my hair with the cheap shampoo that never quite made me feel clean. The dress slid over my body like a whisper, fitting perfectly despite him never asking my size. Of course it fit. Men like him didn't make mistakes. I'd attempted makeup with the drugstore products I rarely used. Mascara, a touch of lipstick. My reflection startled me. I looked almost beautiful, almost like the girl I'd been before the world had taught me that beauty was dangerous, that being seen meant being vulnerable. The buzzer rang at exactly 8 p.m. The car was black, sleek, windows tinted so dark they reflected the streetlights like mirrors. The driver who emerged wore a suit that marked him as security, broad-shouldered, alert eyes that scanned the street before opening the rear door. Miss Crawford. It wasn't a question. I climbed in, the leather interior swallowing me in luxury I'd only seen in movies. The door closed with a heavy thunk that sounded like finality. We drove through the city, away from my neighborhood with its flickering streetlights and barred windows, into areas where the buildings grew taller, the streets cleaner, the people scarcer. Old money territory, the kind of place where power whispered instead of shouted. The restaurant was unmarked, just a discreet door between a gallery and a law firm. The driver opened my door, gestured for me to enter. He's waiting. Inside was a different world. Low lighting, tables spaced for privacy. The quiet murmur of conversations that discussed mergers and acquisitions, not bills and survival. A hostess appeared, tall, elegant, her smile professional and cold. Miss Crawford, this way. She led me through the main dining room to a private area in the back, separated by frosted glass panels. And there he was. He stood as I entered, and the simple act felt like a production. He wore a different black suit, or maybe it was the same. They all looked expensive and dangerous on him. His hair was styled back, revealing the sharp angles of his face. 2 men flanked the entrance, security, obvious in their stillness and watchfulness. Emma. He moved around the table and I realized with a start that he intended to pull out my chair. You look exquisite. Thank you for the dress. My voice came out steadier than I felt. And the money. Sit. He waited until I did, then took his own seat across from me. The table was intimate, meant for two, set with crystal and silver that caught the candlelight. Wine? I don't drink. Smart. He poured water instead, the movement fluid. Tell me about your sister. The question caught me off guard. Why? Because she matters to you, and I want to understand what matters to you. Why? I repeated more forcefully. Why do you care? Why the money? Why this dinner? What do you want from me? He leaned back, studying me with that unsettling intensity. Direct. I appreciate that. He gestured, and a waiter appeared with plates, food I couldn't name, arranged like art. Your father stole from me. The words dropped like stones into still water. Ripples of panic spread through my chest. 3 years ago, he continued, voice conversational, as if discussing the weather. David Crawford was a courier for one of my operations. Small-time work, minimal trust required. He took something that didn't belong to him. $200,000 in cash. I couldn't breathe. I don't know anything about that. I believe you. He cut into his food with precise movements. You left him around the same time. Took your sister and disappeared. Smart girl. Are you here to collect? My hands fisted in my lap, because I don't have it. I've never had it. I didn't even know. Emma. He said my name like a command to stop, to breathe, to listen. I'm not here to collect your father's debt. Then what? I'm here because of what happened after. His eyes locked on mine, and I saw something dangerous swimming in those gray depths. Your father is dead. The room tilted. I gripped the table edge. What? Died 6 months ago. Liver failure. Unsurprising given his drinking habits. He took a sip of wine, watching my reaction. But before he died, he told someone about you, about his daughters, where you were living, where you worked. Fear, cold and sharp, sliced through me. Who? Marcus Volkov. The name meant nothing to me, but the way he said it, careful, weighted, meant everything. He was your father's partner in the theft. And he's decided that since your father is gone, the debt transfers to you. That's insane. I don't owe anyone anything. Logic doesn't concern men like Marcus. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, the casualness belied by the intensity in his gaze. He's coming for you, Emma, and when he does, he won't be kind about collection. My mind raced, trying to find the trap, the angle. Why are you telling me this? Because I'm offering you protection. Nothing is free. His smile was slow, predatory, satisfied. Very good. You're right. Here's what I want. Nothing is free. You work for me. Doing what? You'll live in one of my properties. Safe, secure, comfortable. You'll be available when I need you to attend functions like this. Dinners, galas, events where I require a companion. A companion. I said it flatly. You mean a prostitute. I mean exactly what I said. His voice hardened. I have no shortage of women willing to warm my bed, Emma. What I need is someone smart, someone observant, someone who doesn't belong to my world, but can move through it without drawing attention. Why me? Because you're desperate enough to consider it, and honest enough not to betray me. He paused. And because I saw how you looked at that watch. You wanted to take it. Your fingers were already closing around it. But you didn't. That kind of integrity is rare in my world. Your world being... what? What exactly do you do? I think you know. His eyes challenged me to say it, to acknowledge what we were dancing around. You're a criminal. I'm a businessman who operates outside conventional channels. He said it without shame, without justification. I move things. Money, goods, information. I facilitate arrangements between parties who prefer discretion, and I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. Not yet. The words hung in the air between us, promise and threat combined. But Marcus thinks you are his to claim. And between the two of us, Emma, I'm by far the better option. A waiter appeared to clear plates I hadn't touched. The motion gave me time to think, to process, to understand the cage I was being offered. What happens if I say no? Then you walk out of here, go back to your life, and deal with Marcus when he comes. And he will come. He took another sip of wine, perfectly calm. He's not subtle. He's not patient. and he won't care that you're innocent. And if I say yes, then you and your sister move into a secured apartment tomorrow. You'll have protection, discreet but constant. You'll quit 2 of your 3 jobs and work for me when needed. Lily continues school undisturbed. You'll have a salary, benefits, safety. For how long? Until the debt is resolved. Which means, until I find Marcus and settle accounts. Something dark crossed his face, there and gone in a flash. However long that takes, I thought of Lily, of her hidden permission slip, of the way she tried to make herself smaller, quieter, less of a burden. I thought of my father's fists, of running through rain-soaked streets with my sister's hand in mine. I thought of the exhaustion that lived in my bones, the fear that never quite left. I need to think about it. You have until midnight. He stood, reaching into his jacket. He pulled out another card, placed it on the table. This is the address. The apartment is ready. All you need to do is show up, and if I don't... He came around the table, and suddenly he was close, too close, his presence overwhelming in the intimate space. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His fingers brushed my jaw, tilting my face up to meet his eyes. Then I'll respect your choice. I'm not your father, Emma. I'm not Marcus. I don't take what isn't freely given. His thumb traced my cheekbone, the touch gentle but possessive. But understand this. If you walk away, you're on your own, and I won't be able to save you from what comes next. He stepped back, the absence of his warmth like cold water. The car will take you home. Think carefully. Then he was gone, moving past his security detail, disappearing into the shadows of the restaurant like he'd never been there at all. I sat alone at the table, the card burning next to my untouched plate, and wondered if I'd just been offered salvation or damnation. The answer, I suspected, was both. I didn't go home. The driver took me back to my apartment building, but I couldn't make myself climb those stairs, couldn't face the decision waiting in the silence. Instead, I walked. Block after block through streets that grew darker, more familiar, more dangerous as midnight approached. My phone buzzed. Lily. Having fun! Sarah's mom made pizza. Love you. I typed back, love you too, baby girl. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow. What would tomorrow look like? The apartment with its peeling paint and broken heater. Working myself to death while waiting for a man named Marcus to collect a debt I didn't owe, or a gilded cage owned by a man whose name I still didn't know. Whose eyes saw too much, whose touch had burned like a brand. My father's voice echoed in my memory. You're just like your mother, too proud for your own good. Pride doesn't pay bills, Emma. He'd been right about that, at least. Pride had never paid bills, but it had kept me human when everything else tried to strip that away. I found myself outside the building from the card, a high-rise in the financial district, all glass and steel reaching toward a sky I couldn't see through the city lights. Security nodded as I approached, like they'd been expecting me, like my choice had already been made. Miss Crawford, 15th floor. The guard handed me a keycard. Mr. Constantine is waiting. Constantine. Finally, a name for the devil. The elevator was mirrored, showing me a woman in a designer dress who looked lost, afraid, determined. All 3 at once. The ascent was smooth, silent, delivering me to a private hallway with a single door. I knocked. He opened it immediately, like he'd been standing on the other side, waiting. He'd removed his jacket, rolled up his sleeves. I could see tattoos on his forearms, dark ink in patterns I couldn't quite make out. Cyrillic letters mixed with symbols that looked religious or criminal or both. You came. He stepped aside, letting me enter. The apartment was stunning, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that looked designer but comfortable, art on the walls that was probably worth more than I'd make in a lifetime, everything in shades of gray and black and white, elegant and cold and perfect. I haven't decided yet, I said. Yes, you have. He moved to the bar, poured himself vodka. You wouldn't be here otherwise. You're very sure of yourself. I'm sure of human nature. You love your sister more than you love your pride. He raised his glass in a mock toast. It's not a weakness, Emma. It's just a fact. Tell me about Marcus. I stayed by the door, maintaining distance. Who is he? What will he do if he finds me? Konstantin's expression darkened. Marcus Volkov is a rabid dog who thinks he's a wolf. He worked in my organization, low-level enforcement, collection. He was useful until he got greedy. He took a drink. Your father was his entry into independent theft. They thought they could steal from me and disappear. Your father succeeded for 3 years. Marcus didn't. You caught him? I caught him. I let him live, which was a mistake. He set down the glass with controlled precision. He believes he's owed, that your father's debt is transferable. He's wrong, but that won't stop him from trying to collect in other ways. The implication in his voice made my stomach turn. What other ways? Use your imagination. His eyes met mine, unflinching. He's not refined, he's not patient, and he particularly enjoys hurting women. I wrapped my arms around myself, suddenly cold despite the apartment's perfect temperature. How did you find me? I've been looking for your father for 3 years. When he died, I investigated his life, his contacts, his family. I found you 3 months ago. 3 months. He'd been watching me for 3 months. The thought should have terrified me. Instead, I felt something else. A strange relief that someone had been paying attention, that I wasn't as invisible as I'd believed. Why wait until now? I was watching Marcus, waiting to see what he'd do. When he started asking questions about you last week, I knew I had to act. He moved closer, each step deliberate. I could have just eliminated him. It would have been simpler, but that would have left loose ends, his associates, people who might come looking for revenge. This way, I kill several birds with one stone. By making me bait, by making you mine. He stopped in front of me, close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. There's a difference. I don't see one. You will. His hand came up, fingers threading through my hair, grip firm but not painful. When you're mine, Emma, everyone knows it. Marcus included. He won't touch you, because touching you means declaring war on me. And I'm not someone people declare war against lightly. You're insane if you think I'm just going to agree to be your property. Not property. Protection. His grip tightened slightly, holding me in place. You think you have choices here, that you can bargain or negotiate. You can't. The only choice is whose claim you accept, mine or his. Everything else is illusion. I should have been afraid. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to fight, to refuse this arrogant man who spoke about ownership like it was a gift. But there was truth in his words, harsh and unforgiving. Marcus wouldn't stop. The debt wouldn't disappear. And I was so tired of running. If I agree, I said slowly. I have conditions. His smile was sharp, pleased. Name them. Lily never knows the truth. As far as she's concerned, you're my employer. Nothing more. She doesn't get dragged into this world. Agreed. I finished my degree. I'd been taking online classes for 2 years, slowly working toward the nursing degree I'd had to abandon. Even if I'm working for you, I continue my education. Agreed. In fact, I'll pay for it. I'm not sleeping with you. His laugh was low, genuine. We'll see about that. I'm serious. So am I. He released my hair, but his hand slid down to cup my jaw, thumb brushing my lower lip. I don't force women into my bed, Emma. When you come to me, and you will, it will be because you want to, because you're ready to admit what I can already see in your eyes, which is that you're tired of being afraid, tired of being invisible, tired of surviving instead of living. His face was so close I could feel his breath on my skin. I can give you things you've forgotten you wanted. Safety, comfort, power. I don't want power. Liar. The word was soft, almost affectionate. Everyone wants power. The difference is whether you're brave enough to take it. He stepped back abruptly, the absence of his warmth like a physical loss. Your belongings will be moved tomorrow. I'll have a team handle it. Discreet, professional. Lily can pick her room. The second bedroom has an ensuite bathroom and better light. Just like that? Just like that. He retrieved his phone, typed something quickly. You'll have a security detail, 2 men on rotation. They'll be invisible unless needed. You'll also have a car and driver available at all times. That seems excessive. That's careful. He pocketed the phone. I don't take chances with what belongs to me. I'm not. Yes, you are. He said it with absolute certainty. You accepted my money. You're standing in what will be your home. You're already mine, Emma. Now it's just a matter of you accepting it. The next morning, I woke in my own bed for the last time. The apartment already felt different, like it knew I was leaving, like it was releasing me from its grip. Lily came home around noon, bubbling with stories from her sleepover, and I told her about the job opportunity. Live-in position, I explained, keeping my voice steady. Personal assistant to a businessman. It comes with housing, better pay, and he's agreed to fund my degree. Her eyes were wide, hopeful, too trusting. That's amazing. What's he like? Professional, demanding, true enough. But fair. The movers arrived at 2, silent, efficient men who packed our lives into boxes with the kind of care usually reserved for expensive art. Everything we owned fit into a single truck. 3 years of survival, of scraping by, reduced to cardboard and tape. The apartment Constantine had prepared was more than I'd imagined. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen with appliances that looked new, a living room with furniture that was actually comfortable. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a park I'd walked through once, years ago, when I'd still believed in things like leisure and beauty. Lily chose the room with better light, exactly as he predicted. She unpacked her books, her clothes, her small collection of treasures, and for the first time in 3 years, I saw her smile without shadows behind it. Em. She appeared in my doorway as I hung clothes in a closet big enough to be a bedroom itself. Is this real? We're really staying here? We're really staying here. She hugged me, fierce and tight, and I felt something crack in my chest, some armor I'd been wearing so long I'd forgotten it was there. That evening, after Lily fell asleep in her new room with its soft sheets and quiet street, I stood at the windows and looked out at the city. My phone buzzed. Constantine. Settled in? Yes, I typed back. Good. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. I'll have the driver pick you up. We need to discuss your duties. What kind of duties? The kind that require you to pay attention and remember things. I'll explain tomorrow. Sleep well, Emma. You're safe now. Safe. The word felt foreign. Impossible. But as I climbed into bed, a real bed, with a real mattress, in a room with heat that actually worked, I realized something had shifted. The constant fear that had been my companion for 3 years had quieted to a whisper. I didn't trust it. Didn't trust him. Didn't trust this new reality that felt too good, too easy, too much like a dream that would evaporate with dawn. But for one night, I let myself believe it. For one night, I slept without nightmares. The driver was outside at exactly 9 a.m., a different man than before, equally professional, equally watchful. The car took me to an office building downtown, sleek and modern, the kind of place where serious money was made and lost. Constantine's office was on the top floor, naturally. Floor-to-ceiling windows here, too. But the view was different. Industrial. Showing the city's working bones instead of its polished face. He sat behind a massive desk, wearing another black suit, talking in rapid Russian on the phone. He gestured for me to sit. I did, taking in the details. The photos on the wall of him with various men in expensive suits, the books on the shelves in multiple languages, the gun in the holster hanging on the back of his chair, visible and casual as a jacket. He ended the call, switched languages seamlessly. Coffee? Yes, please. He poured from a silver service, added cream without asking how I took it. He knew. Of course he knew. He'd probably known since that night in the hospital bathroom. Your job, he began, sitting across from me in a leather chair that probably cost more than my former annual salary, is to be my eyes and ears in places I can't go. Social events, charity galas, private gatherings where wives and mistresses gossip and share secrets their men think are safe. You want me to spy. I want you to observe. Listen. Remember. He leaned back, fingers steepled. People underestimate women like you. Quiet, beautiful, seemingly harmless. They talk around you like you're furniture. That makes you valuable. I'm not trained for this. You don't need training. You need to be yourself. Smart, observant, honest. Come to me with what you see and hear. I'll handle the rest. And if someone asks who I am, what my connection is to you, his smile was slow, possessive. You're mine. That's all anyone needs to know. That's not an answer. It's the only answer that matters. He stood, came around the desk, leaned against it in front of me. In my world, Emma, ownership is protection. When people know you belong to me, they'll treat you with respect or fear. Both work in your favor. I'm not comfortable with people thinking I'm my what? Lover? Mistress? Girlfriend? He tilted his head. Does the label matter more than the reality? The reality being that you're under my protection, that I've claimed you, that anyone who touches you answers to me. His eyes held mine, intense and unwavering. The rest is just semantics. A knock at the door interrupted us. One of his security team entered, tall, scarred, dangerous looking. Boss. Marcus has been spotted near the sister school. Everything in me went cold. Constantine's expression didn't change, but something deadly flickered in his eyes. When? His voice was arctic. 20 minutes ago. He left when he saw our team. Double the detail on both of them. I want eyes on Marcus every second. And get Emma back home. Now. The man nodded. Disappeared. Constantine turned to me, and for the first time, I saw something like concern in his face. He knows where Lily goes to school. My voice shook. He won't get near her. I promise you that. He gripped my shoulders, firm and grounding. Emma, look at me. She's safe. My men are the best. Marcus is testing boundaries, trying to provoke a response. He won't succeed. You promised she wouldn't be dragged into this. And she won't be. This is exactly why you're here. Why you're under my protection. His hand slid up to cup my face, forcing me to focus. Trust me. Can you do that? I didn't have a choice. That was the truth of it. I'd made my decision, accepted his terms, and now I had to believe he could deliver on his promises. Yes, I whispered. Good girl. He released me, his demeanor shifting back to business. Go home. Stay there until I come to you. Don't open the door for anyone except my people. Understand? I nodded, stood on shaking legs. He walked me to the door, his hand at the small of my back, possessive, protective, the touch burning through my clothes. Emma. I paused, looked back. His eyes were storm dark, fierce. You're mine now. That means I protect you. Both of you. Whatever it takes. It should have sounded like a threat. Instead, it sounded like a vow. The apartment felt like a fortress and a prison simultaneously. I paced the living room while Lily sat at the dining table doing homework, oblivious to the danger circling us. The security detail had tripled. I'd counted 4 different men on rotation outside our door, saw the way they checked every person who entered the building. My phone buzzed constantly with updates from Constantine's team. Subject still under surveillance, no approach attempts. Target appears to be establishing patterns. Marcus was hunting, and we were the prey he wanted to flush out. 3 days passed intense monotony. I barely slept, jumped at every sound, watched Lily like she might disappear if I blinked. Constantine called every evening, his voice steady and calm, a counterpoint to my spiraling anxiety. He's getting impatient, he told me on the 3rd night. Good. Impatient men make mistakes. What kind of mistakes? The kind that let me end this. A pause. How are you holding up? I'm fine. The lie was automatic. Liar. But he said it gently, almost fondly. I'm coming over. We need to talk. He arrived an hour later, appearing at my door with a bag from a restaurant I recognized from magazine spreads. The kind of place that required reservations months in advance. His security stayed in the hallway while he entered, filling the space with his presence. You haven't been eating. It wasn't a question. He unpacked containers onto the dining table. Pasta, salad, bread that smelled like heaven. Sit. I'm not hungry. Sit, Emma. He command, not request. I sat. He served me, poured wine I didn't drink, and watched me with those unnerving gray eyes until I took a bite. The food was exquisite, and I realized I hadn't had a proper meal in days. Where's Lily? he asked. Her room. Studying. Good. He ate with the same precise movements I'd noticed before, controlled and elegant. I need you to do something for me. My fork paused halfway to my mouth. What? There's a charity gala tomorrow night. High-profile donors, old money families, the kind of people who think their wealth makes them untouchable. He wiped his mouth with a napkin. Marcus has connections to one of the families in attendance, the Morettis. They've been laundering money through their legitimate businesses. I need to know how deep the connection goes. You want me to go to a gala while someone's trying to kill me? I want you to go to a gala where you'll be surrounded by hundreds of people and my security team. It's actually the safest place you could be. He leaned back, studying me. Besides, Marcus won't expect it. He thinks you're cowering here, afraid. Let's prove him wrong. I am afraid. I know. His hand reached across the table, covered mine. But you're also brave. You've been surviving on your own for 3 years, protecting your sister, working yourself to exhaustion. That takes courage. This is just a different kind of survival. His touch was warm, solid, grounding. I hadn't realized how much I'd craved human contact until that moment. Not the clinical touches at work, not Lily's innocent hugs, but something else. Something that acknowledged I was more than just a caretaker, more than just afraid. What do I need to do? I asked quietly. Be yourself. Listen. Watch. The Moretti daughter, Isabella, loves to talk when she's drinking. She'll be there with her fiancé, showing off her ring, playing the perfect socialite. Get close to her. Women like her love having an audience. How do I get close to her? His smile was sharp. You'll be there as my companion. That alone will make you interesting. Everyone will want to know who you are, where you came from, why I chose you. He squeezed my hand. Let them wonder. Be mysterious. And when Isabella starts talking, remember everything. The next evening, I stood in front of my closet trying to breathe. The dress he'd sent was emerald green this time, with a neckline that showed just enough to be elegant without being scandalous. Jewelry arrived with it, diamonds that felt cold and heavy against my skin. Lily appeared in my doorway, eyes wide. Em, you look like a princess. I feel like an imposter. You're not. She hugged me carefully, avoiding the dress. You're the strongest person I know. You can do anything. If only that were true. Constantin picked me up personally this time, emerging from the car in a tuxedo that made him look even more dangerous than usual. Refined danger. The kind that moved through society's upper echelons without raising alarms. Breathtaking, he said simply, offering his arm. The gala was held at a museum, marble floors, soaring ceilings, art worth more than entire neighborhoods. Women dripped in jewels and designer gowns. Men wore power as casually as their expensive watches. I felt like an alien who'd landed on a foreign planet. Constantine's hand at the small of my back kept me grounded as we moved through the crowd. People parted for him, their smiles respectful and slightly fearful. He introduced me simply, Emma Crawford, my companion. The word carried weight I was beginning to understand. Not girlfriend, not date. Companion implied something more permanent, more significant, ownership, like he'd said. Protection wrapped in possession. Constantine! A woman's voice, bright and slightly slurred. I turned to see her, mid-20s, blonde, beautiful in the way of people who'd never known hardship. Diamonds glittered at her throat. I didn't know you were bringing someone. Isabella. His smile was polite, distant. Allow me to introduce Emma. Her eyes raked over me, assessing and dismissing in seconds. Charming. Where did you two meet? Through mutual friends, I said smoothly, the lie prepared. I work in healthcare administration. How noble. She sipped champagne, already bored. Her fiancé appeared, tall, handsome, vacant-eyed. Darling, this is Constantine and his companion. The emphasis on the word was deliberate, mildly insulting. Constantine's hand tightened on my waist, a subtle warning for patience. We made small talk, excruciating, meaningless conversation about the weather, the art, the food, but I watched, listened, noticed. The way Isabella's fiancé kept checking his phone, the way her smile never reached her eyes, The way she drank glass after glass of champagne, like she was trying to drown something. "Excuse me," her fiancé said eventually. "I need to make a call." The moment he left, Isabella's facade cracked slightly. Men and their business. Even at events like this, they can't disconnect. "What kind of business is he in?" I asked innocently. "Import-export. Terribly boring." She waved a hand dismissively, though lucrative. "We're expanding into new markets. Eastern Europe, apparently. My father handles most of it." Constantine's hand moved in small circles on my back, a signal to continue. "That sounds exciting," I offered. "Growing the family business. It's something." She leaned closer, conspiratorial. "Between you and me, I think there's more to it than they're telling me. Meetings at odd hours, phone calls in Russian. My father's been stressed lately." "Russian?" I glanced at Constantine. His expression remained neutral, but I felt the tension in his body. "Probably nothing." Isabella straightened, mask sliding back into place. "I'm sure they know what they're doing." Her fiancé returned, effectively ending the conversation. We made polite excuses and moved on, but I'd seen enough. The pieces were clicking into place. The Morettis were dealing with Russian connections, probably Marcus and his associates. Constantine guided me to a quieter corner, his lips close to my ear. "You did well. Very well." She confirmed Marcus is working with them. More than that. She gave us timeline and methodology. His hand slid up my spine, possessive and proud. "You're a natural at this. I just talked to her. You made her comfortable, made her trust you enough to gossip. That's a skill, Emma." His fingers threaded through my hair, tilting my face up to his. "Do you understand what you've given me? Information that will help me dismantle their operation and eliminate Marcus." "When?" "Soon." His thumb traced my lower lip, the touch electric. "Very soon. And then you'll be truly safe." The gala continued around us, but I was aware only of him, his heat, his scent, the way his eyes had darkened with something that wasn't just professional appreciation. "Constantine. Alexei." His name, finally, offered like a gift. "When we're alone, call me Alexei." "Alexei?" I tested it, the syllables foreign on my tongue. "What happens after Marcus is gone?" "That depends on you." His hand cupped my jaw, holding me captive in his gaze. "You could go back to your old life, take Lily and disappear. I'd let you. I told you I don't keep what isn't freely given. Or you stay. Continue working for me. Let me give you the life you deserve." His voice dropped lower, intimate despite the crowd around us. "Let me keep you safe, comfortable, cared for." "As what? Your employee? Your companion?" "As mine. Simple, absolute, in whatever form that takes." A commotion near the entrance interrupted us. Raised voices, security moving quickly. Alexei's entire demeanor shifted, from seductive to deadly in a heartbeat. His hand dropped to where I knew he kept a weapon hidden beneath his jacket. "Stay behind me," he ordered. But it wasn't Marcus causing the disturbance. It was a drunk guest being escorted out, nothing more. Still, the moment had shattered. Reality came crashing back. This wasn't romance. This was survival dressed in evening wear. "We're leaving." Alexei's hand found mine, grip firm. "Now." We moved through the crowd, his security detail materializing around us. The car was waiting, engine running. He bundled me inside, slid in beside me, and I saw the tension in his jaw, the way his eyes scanned every shadow. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Nothing. Everything." He pulled out his phone, barked orders in Russian, then to me. "Marcus tried to approach the building while we were gone. My men stopped him, but he's escalating." Fear spiked through me. "Lily is fine. I have 6 men on her and she hasn't left the apartment." His hand found mine again, squeezed hard. "But this ends tomorrow. I'm not waiting for him to make another move." "What are you going to do?" His smile was cold, predatory. "What I should have done 3 years ago. I'm going to remind Marcus Volkov why people fear my name." We arrived back at the apartment to find Lily asleep, unaware of how close danger had come. Alexei did a sweep of every room, checked the security feeds, spoke quietly with his men in the hallway. When he returned, I was standing at the windows, still in my gala dress, watching the city lights blur through tears. I hadn't realized I was crying. Emma. His voice was soft, careful. I'm tired. The words came out broken. I'm so tired of being afraid, of running, of feeling like the world is always one step ahead, waiting to crush me. He came up behind me, his warmth at my back. I know. Do you? I turned, and maybe it was the stress, the fear, the wine I'd barely touched, but something inside me cracked open. Do you know what it's like to be powerless? To watch everything you love teeter on the edge and know you can't save it? Yes. His hands came up to frame my face, and I saw something raw in his eyes. I know exactly what that feels like. Why do you think I am the way I am? Why I control everything, trust no one, keep everyone at arm's length? Then why me? The question tore out of me. Why did you choose to protect me? What do you get out of this? Honestly? His forehead touched mine, intimate and devastating. I don't know. I saw you in that bathroom, reaching for something you wanted but wouldn't take. Honest in a world of liars. Strong despite being broken. And I wanted... He stopped. Something like vulnerability crossing his features. I wanted to keep that. Keep you. Make sure the world didn't destroy what was left of your light. I'm not light. I'm barely surviving. You're surviving. That's more than most people in your situation could say. His lips brushed my forehead, tender and possessive. Let me help you do more than survive, Emma. Let me give you a life worth living by making me yours, by letting yourself be mine. His hands slid down to my shoulders. There's a difference. One is imprisonment. The other is choice. I looked up at him. This dangerous, powerful man who'd upended my life, who offered protection wrapped in control, who looked at me like I was something precious and breakable and worth keeping. Tomorrow, I whispered. End this tomorrow. Make us safe. I will. A vow, dark and certain. I promise you, Emma, by tomorrow night, Marcus will be nothing but a memory, and you'll never have to be afraid again. He kissed my forehead once more, then left, his security detail closing ranks around him. I stood alone in my beautiful prison, and wondered if safety and freedom could ever truly coexist, or if I'd just traded one cage for another. Except this one had a captor I was beginning not to want to escape. The call came at 3 a.m. I hadn't been sleeping. Couldn't sleep, knowing that somewhere in the city, Alexei was hunting a man who wanted to hurt me. The phone's vibration against my nightstand made my heart stop. Unknown number. I answered with shaking hands. Emma Crawford? A voice I didn't recognize. Male. Russian accent. Who is this? Friend of Marcus. He wants to meet. Discuss terms. Ice flooded my veins. I don't have anything to discuss with him. Your sister does. The words were casual. Deadly. Pretty girl. 15, yes? Would be shame if something happened to her. If you touch her, then come. Alone. Old warehouse on Pier 17, 1 hour. Come alone, or little sister pays for Constantine's sins. The line went dead. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. This was a trap. Obviously a trap. But Lily was down the hall, asleep, vulnerable. And if Marcus had people who could get to her... I pulled on jeans, a sweater, grabbed my keys, wrote a note for Lily in case I didn't come back. I love you. You're the best thing in my life. Be strong. The security guard outside my door stood as I emerged. Miss Crawford? Everything all right? I need to go out. Mr. Constantine's orders are that you stay. I don't care about his orders. I pushed past him toward the elevator. He followed, speaking rapidly into his radio. I heard Alexei's name, heard urgency in the Russian words I couldn't understand. The guard tried to stop me at the building entrance. Please, Miss Crawford, let me call the boss. No. I pulled away, ran into the street. A taxi was passing. I flagged it down, gave the address, and we pulled away before anyone could stop me. The warehouse district at night was exactly as terrifying as expected. Abandoned buildings, broken streetlights, shadows that moved with rats or worse. Pier 17 loomed ahead, a skeletal structure against the black water. I paid the driver, stepped out into cold that bit through my sweater. The warehouse door was open, inviting me into darkness. Every instinct screamed at me to run. But I thought of Lily, of her smile, of the way she'd finally stopped flinching at loud noises. I couldn't let Marcus take that from her. I walked inside. The space was vast, empty except for old crates and industrial debris. Moonlight filtered through broken windows, creating patterns on the concrete floor. I heard footsteps, turned to see Marcus emerge from the shadows. He was smaller than I'd expected. Average height, thinning hair, the kind of man who'd be invisible in a crowd. But his eyes were wrong, empty in a way that made my skin crawl. Emma Crawford. He smiled, showing yellow teeth. David's daughter. You look like him, you know. Same eyes, same stupid pride. What do you want? What I'm owed. He circled me slowly, predator assessing prey. 200,000, plus interest. 3 years of interest. I don't have that kind of money, but your new boyfriend does. Marcus stopped in front of me. Constantine thinks he can take what's mine. First my position in the organization, then my money, now my debt. I'm here to collect what he owes me. I'm not his... Don't lie to me. His hand shot out, grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise. You think I'm stupid? You think I don't see what he's doing? Using you to get to me, to flush me out? Well, it worked. Here I am. Where are your friends? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The ones who called me? His smile widened. There are no friends, just me, just you, and a very simple transaction. You're insane if you think he'll pay. Oh, he'll pay. Because if he doesn't, I'll cut you into pieces and mail them to him one by one. He pulled a knife from his jacket, the blade catching moonlight. Starting with those pretty fingers he seems to like touching, the knife moved toward my hand. I jerked back, but his grip held firm. The blade touched my skin, a line of cold pressure. Touch her and die. Alexei's voice came from everywhere and nowhere, echoing in the vast space. Marcus spun, dragging me with him, using me as a shield. The knife pressed against my throat now, edge sharp enough that I felt the sting of a shallow cut. There you are, Marcus called out into the darkness. Come out, Constantine. Let's talk like civilized men. There's nothing civilized about you, Marcus. Alexei stepped into the light, and my breath caught. He wore all black, a gun held with casual competence at his side. His face was a mask of cold fury. Let her go. This is between us. Everything is between us, Marcus's voice pitched higher, frantic. You took everything from me, my position, my respect, my future. You turned me into nothing. You were always nothing. I just stopped pretending otherwise. Alexei took a step closer. Emma, close your eyes. Don't move. Marcus pressed the knife harder. I felt blood trickle down my neck. I'll kill her, I swear it. No, you won't. Alexei's voice was certain, calm. Because if you do, you lose your only leverage. And then I'll take my time killing you. Days, Marcus. I'll keep you alive for days. You think you scare me? I know I do. I can see it in your eyes. You're terrified. Another step closer. You've always been a coward. That's why you steal instead of earn. Why you threaten women instead of fighting men. Why you're shaking right now. Marcus was shaking. I could feel the tremor in his hand, the knife wavering against my throat. Last chance, Alexei said softly. Let her go. Walk away. I'll give you a head start. 5 minutes. After that, he smiled, and it was the most terrifying thing I'd ever seen. After that, I hunt. You're lying. I never lie about killing. Alexei raised his gun, aimed with steady hands. Close your eyes and drop. I didn't think. I just obeyed. I closed my eyes, let my legs give out, dropped straight down. The knife sliced air where my throat had been. A gunshot cracked through the warehouse, deafening in the enclosed space. Marcus screamed. The knife clattered away. Strong hands grabbed me, pulled me to the side. I opened my eyes to see Alexei's security team swarming in. Marcus on the ground clutching his shoulder, blood spreading across concrete. Alexei crouched beside me, hands running over my body, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? Emma, look at me. Are you hurt? I'm fine. My voice came out steadier than I felt. How did you... Your security guard called me the second you left. I've had teams tracking you since you got in that taxi. His hands cupped my face, and I saw fear in his eyes. Real, raw fear. What were you thinking? Coming here alone, walking into an obvious trap. He threatened Lily. She was never in danger. I had 6 armed men outside your apartment. His voice rose, anger covering the fear. Do you understand what could have happened? If we'd been 30 seconds later, but you weren't. I grabbed his wrists, holding on. You found me. You saved me. You never should have needed saving. You should have trusted me. His forehead pressed to mine, breathing hard. God, Emma, when I got that call, when I realized where you were going, I'm sorry. Tears were falling now, shock setting in. I'm sorry, I couldn't risk her. I couldn't. I know. His lips brushed my forehead, my cheeks tasting my tears. I know, Malaya Moya. But you're mine to protect. Both of you. You don't get to throw your life away without permission. Behind us, Marcus was being hauled to his feet by security. Alexei stood, pulling me with him, keeping me tucked against his side. What do you want us to do with him, boss? One of the men asked. Alexei looked at Marcus, really looked at him, with eyes that held nothing but cold calculation. Make it clean. No trace. And send a message to the Morettis. Their arrangement is over. Anyone who works with my enemies becomes my enemy. No. Marcus struggled against the hands holding him. Constantine, please, I'll leave the city. I'll disappear. You had your chance to disappear 3 years ago. Alexei's voice was flat, final. You should have taken it. They dragged Marcus away, his protests fading into the night. I should have felt something. Horror, guilt, satisfaction. Instead, I just felt numb, exhausted, like I'd been running for years and finally stopped. Come on. Alexei guided me toward the warehouse entrance where multiple black cars waited. Let's go home. Home. The word caught in my chest. The drive back was silent. Alexei held me against him in the back seat, one arm wrapped around my shoulders, the other hand holding mine. I felt his heartbeat gradually slow from its frantic pace, felt the tension drain from his body as we put distance between us and the warehouse. I was terrified, he said finally, quietly. When I realized you'd gone to him. When I thought I might be too late. You're always in control. I didn't think you got scared. Everyone gets scared, Emma. The difference is what you do with the fear. His fingers threaded through mine, gripped tight. Mine makes me dangerous. Yours makes you brave. I don't feel brave. You walked into a warehouse alone to protect your sister. That's the definition of brave. He kissed my temple. Also the definition of reckless and infuriating, and he stopped, searching for words. Mine. God help us both. But you're mine. We arrived back at the apartment to find Lily still asleep, unaware of how close she'd come to losing me. Alexei did another security sweep while I stood in my living room, still shaking with adrenaline. It's over, he said, returning from checking the locks. Marcus is gone. The Morettis won't risk moving against me. You're safe now, both of you. So what happens now? I turned to face him. You said I could leave after, that I could go back to my old life. I did say that. He moved closer, slow and deliberate. Is that what you want? I thought about my old apartment with its broken heater and peeling paint, thought about exhaustion and fear and invisibility, thought about surviving instead of living. No, I whispered. I don't want that. What do you want, Emma? The question hung between us, weighted with everything we'd been through, everything we'd survived together. I took a shaky breath. I want to stay, keep working for you, keep living here with Lily where she's safe and happy. And I want... The words caught in my throat. Admitting this felt more dangerous than facing Marcus had been. I want to understand this thing between us. Whatever it is. It's obsession. He said it simply, honestly. From the moment I saw you reaching for that watch, I was obsessed with your honesty, your strength, your refusal to break despite everything trying to crush you. He cupped my jaw, tilted my face up. I claimed you as mine not just for protection, Emma. I claimed you because I couldn't stand the thought of anyone else having you. That's insane. Probably. His thumb traced my lower lip, but insanity runs in my family. We take what we want and hold it forever. My father taught me that. My grandfather before him. When a Constantine man finds what's his, he never lets go. And if I want to leave someday, then I'll let you go. Because I meant what I said. I don't keep what isn't freely given. His eyes searched mine, but I'll spend every day until then convincing you to stay. How? Instead of answering, he kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was possession and promise, and everything we'd been dancing around since that first night in the hospital. His hands fisted in my hair, angling my head exactly where he wanted it. I gasped against his mouth, and he deepened the kiss, claiming every breath, every thought, every piece of me I'd been holding back. When he finally pulled away, we were both breathing hard. Like that, he said, voice rough. I'll convince you like that, and by making sure you never have to be afraid again. By giving Lily every opportunity she deserves. By showing you what it means to be cherished, protected, worshipped by a man who would burn the world down to keep you safe. Alexei, I love you. The words were stark, simple. I know it's too soon, too fast, too intense. I don't care. I've been alone my entire life, trusted no one, kept everyone at arm's length. And then you appeared, honest, brave, breakable but unbroken. And I knew I'd found what I didn't know I was looking for. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I don't know if I can love you back. Not yet, not after everything. I know. He kissed my tears away, tender despite his earlier passion. I don't need you to love me today. I just need you to stay, to let me prove that choosing me, choosing this life, isn't another cage. It's freedom of a different kind. What kind? The kind where you never have to do anything alone again, where your burdens are shared, where someone stands between you and the world's cruelty. His forehead touched mine. I can't give you normal, Emma. I can't give you safe or conventional or easy, but I can give you protected, cherished. Mine. I looked up at this dangerous, impossible man who'd upended my life and somehow made it better, who'd killed for me, saved me, claimed me with a certainty that should have been terrifying, but instead felt like coming home. Okay, I whispered. Okay? I'll stay. I'll be yours. And maybe... I touched his face, feeling the roughness of stubble, the warmth of skin over steel. Maybe someday you'll be mine too. His smile was brilliant, transforming his face from dangerous to devastating. I've been yours since the moment you tried to walk away from that watch. You just didn't know it yet. He kissed me again, softer this time, but no less possessive, and I kissed him back, letting myself fall into the dangerous comfort of being claimed by a man who promised forever. 6 months later, I stood in Alexei's office, my office now too, since I'd officially become his partner in the legitimate businesses he was expanding. Lily was thriving at her new private school, talking about college applications and future dreams without shadows in her eyes. The transformation had been gradual but complete. I'd learned his world, learned to navigate the complexity of a man who existed between legal and illegal, who protected with the same hands that destroyed. We'd had fights, spectacular ones, about control and independence and trust. But we'd survived them, grown through them. You're thinking too loud, Alexei said from behind me, arms wrapping around my waist. I can hear your brain working from across the room. Just remembering. I leaned back into him. That night in the hospital, how terrified I was. And now? Now I'm terrified for different reasons. I turned in his arms, met his eyes. Like how much I love you. How much I need you. How devastating it would be to lose you. You won't. He kissed me softly. I told you. Constantine men hold on forever. Even when I'm being stubborn and independent and refusing to let you coddle me. Especially then. His smile was warm, genuine, nothing like the cold mask he showed the world. Though I reserve the right to protect you anyway. It's in my nature. And it's in my nature to fight you on it. I know. He pulled me closer. That's why this works. You keep me human. I keep you safe. And together we're unstoppable. I looked at this man who'd saved me, claimed me, loved me with an intensity that should have been overwhelming but instead felt like breathing. Forever? Forever, he promised. You're mine, Emma Crawford, and I'm yours. That's how this story ends. But it wasn't an ending, I realized. It was a beginning, the start of a life I'd never imagined, with a man I'd never expected, in a world that had transformed from nightmare to dream. I kissed him, tasting promise and possession and love wrapped in danger, and for the first time in longer than I could remember, I wasn't afraid of what tomorrow might bring. Because whatever came, we'd face it together. His, mine, ours. Forever.